Hey, how's it going, Thero? Thanks for coming by, man. A little bit late, so give me a moment. Trying to share the link around and whatnot. Hmm. Actually, that should be enough, honestly. Where are you just chilling? That's what's up. Let me see here. Alright, there we go. Do I need to make this guy smaller? I don't think so. I don't think he's too big. But alright, everyone. Yeah. This is some of the work we got to do on the stream so far. As far as comic stuff's been going, I think it's been looking okay. Yeah. Only problem. Oh, hold on. Low key, had my first piece of art theft today. Oh, what? I'm trying to not trip. Trying not to trip about it, but I'm a little thrown off at the moment. Damn. How? How was it stolen? Was it like someone took it online and whatnot and try to use it like it was theirs? That is. It's not the wave. But yeah, thanks. No, I'm trying to hear about what's going on with you. No, what's happening? Because honestly, art theft is too easy. Art theft is too easy, and there seems to be no form of enough laws or like something to protect artists. You know, maybe it's just because it's too easy, and it's just harder to possibly protect artists. But I still feel like it should be a possibility, man. Basically, I made a piece a year ago about some political stuff in the Olympics. Today, they posted their piece, which is 99% similar to mine. Jeez. You talking about the one where it's like got the two hands and like the ring joints, like you're in like you're being jailed essentially, or you're basically being pressed essentially. Like that's what I got from it. I think you did that a while ago. I would think it's coincidence until we've been added on Facebook since 2018 and they followed me there. So they basically took your work, they copied it, or traced it, and they added a little thing to it to try and say that it's not yours completely. It's one of those, probably. That's freaking sucky as crap, because what the hell can you do about that? Sorry to hear about that, man. I remember when the NFT joint was popping off, and people found out that you could basically take someone's art. I think it's this glare. You could take someone's art and basically just make a freaking NFT over it or some crap. And that's why a lot of people stopped posting on Twitter, because you know, it just wasn't a good idea anymore. Yep, and they have a larger following than me. Oh man. Well, known in the black art community. Oh man. That should not even matter. Like honestly. That should not even matter when it comes down to it, because you're also known regardless. People know your art. I would hope people would also be able to tell that they didn't, create that all on their own either. They definitely got that idea, or they took that from you and put that somewhere else. Definitely if they have a fan base. If they have a fan base, I don't like, if I'm following somebody, I can tell when like they're doing something a little different. But then again, sometimes when you have a fan base, They don't like to think very much. They just like to think that everything you put out there is something that you did. So I can understand that too. But you can definitely make a push to like get it known out there. It's like one thing to like steal someone's art. I mean, that's literally the first step. Then once you start merchandising it, then it becomes a real big problem. But stealing in the first place is the real big problem, so. Let's see here. Let's put this here. Should be able to see. Oh wait, this isn't on focus yet. It's just on the zoom aspect. Let me fix that now. I always gotta remember that. 1 second. I'm gonna. Of course, that's not really anything there for me to focus on. Probably because everything's not in the center. That should be about right. Guess I'll put on some low music or whatever, so that people aren't too bored. That'd be cool. I'll put it like this low. That should be decent. It's not like a whisper, but it's like, you know, it's not too loud, hopefully, for you guys. But yeah, I was working on this stuff yesterday on stream, and doing a pretty decent job, I'd say. I think things turned out well, and I was kind of hitting the flow state and everything, so that was cool. Saw a recent post today about like someone was kind of, I guess they're trying to really make a big point about comics and manga. This person is in the comic book industry, and he was speaking on how, I guess, the good aspects of the manga industry, you know, and to kind of, you know, bring attention to some of the problems in the comic book industry. And I was like, you know, I almost kind of like wanna post on this, but then I forgot. I didn't make my own post on it or like comment on it yet. But I was thinking about it, and I was just like, you know, I think about this stuff and talk about this stuff with my friends all the time. Little problems and inconsistencies with like comic storytelling, or the market, if you will, of comics, like the business of it. And like, I don't know. I don't feel like both industries are pretty dang on stubborn, it seems like. Though, I would say it's funny. I think the manga industry might be more willing to change than the comic industry at sometimes. It just feels that way. And whether or not it's better for their, definitely if it's better for their business, they'll do it. But people in the comic space, it doesn't feel like they understand how to make that work, or they don't want to make the big change that they should to make it necessary. I mean, to kind of get the necessary change that they really would be able to have. Like, for example's sake, like, I always keep thinking back to the fact that, like, you can go to a comic store. I mean, you can go to, like, a Barnes and Nobles. And I know I keep bringing up stuff like bookstores, right? But, like, you know, not everybody's going to go to a dedicated comic shop just to buy comic books. You know, that's a whole different thing. That's when you're actually in it already, you know? And most people aren't yet. But yeah, you're in a Barnes and Nobles or something, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go grab a comic or something. And the first thing you see is a giant amount of books, and you're just like, yo, where do I even start? This is why the manga industry in America is just kicking people's butts when it comes to that aspect. Because think about it, you can't get confused, right? You go to the aisle, you don't go, man, I wonder where I start with, I don't know, pick any manga you know about. Attack on Titan tells you the number right on the book. So if you know you didn't read volume, I don't know, 5 yet, but you want to go in order, you know exactly what you need to buy or what you need to read. You can't really easily do that with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and all that type of stuff. But I think that the comic book industry is just catering, honestly, to older readers than they are catering to new readers. They're trying to make sure that their old readers don't go anywhere, so they're consistently catering to them, making it harder for new readers to get into it. And that goes for Marvel and DC. And I can't say they both don't have great writers and great illustrators and great artists. They have all of those things. They just don't have a good system of kind of showing up, kind of making sure it's easy to get into anymore. System is kind of wrong, bad. I used to think, man, it should be untouchable because they have the movie industry so well. Like they have it. Things are going very well with the movie industry, and yet that movie is not coming. That money is not trickling into comic books at all, and that's another real big problem. But you know, Disney and I guess whoever owns DC, Warner Brothers or something, they do not care. Which is why I think they're just not gonna change anything with it. Like the comic industry could die, and they would still be like, word, we still got IPs we can just siphon ideas from. We were never going to get as far as the comics anyway. Just going to keep adapting small things at a time and keep milking it for all it's worth. So they probably wouldn't care. Oh yeah. Good parts of the comic book industry. If you're getting paid at all in the comic book industry, for the most part, somewhat, you get paid somewhat a living wage. The problem is that getting work after you finally get that first amount of work is a waiting game. So you gotta just live or survive until you get your next gig. Despite how much it feels like people enjoy different art styles, in the comic book industry they really more so enjoy house styles or archetypes of styles, because that tells them where they feel like you fit. And I guess that also has a lot to do with also the type of stories you want to tell or work on. So that type of thing can limit you. So in a way, they don't want you to stand out too much. And Japan, they're cool with you standing out as much as possible, because they'll always be able to tell that you are the person making that book, or you're the person working on that book. So your art will, stick out on a shelf, What else is interesting? Though I feel like from the outside looking in, we can say manga and anime has some form of house style or consistency to it. But at the same time, that's from like our point of view looking in, right? They could be making fun of that style. They could be turning that style on its head. I definitely think shoujo has a certain type of look to it. I definitely think shonen has some aspects of the same thing. But at the same time, there's more diversity in each demographic anyway, because, we only get to really see the stuff that gets translated and comes over to America anyway. So that's something I always think about. We don't actually get to see everything. Oh yeah, the money situation, right? When it comes to Japanese comics or that industry, I'm pretty sure, like, I think assistants make money, off of working with authors. And in between that, from what I've been seeing recently, is they either want to work on their own stuff, eventually get their own gigs, instead of being an assistant, or they take the assets or the tools or skills they make or use while working with a mangaka, and they go ahead and create assets for people to buy and download, so they can also help themselves make, payments or a living and stuff. I think they get paid fairly-ish, right? I think they get paid fair. Obviously, the people who are famous, like Eiichiro Oda and, like, people who work on successful projects that last years and years and years, those people are kind of sort of on a staff type thing, right? Where they're not going anywhere. They're that integral, they're that good, and the author doesn't want to get rid of them. But people who don't find successful projects like that have to consistently be on the lookout for new work, new authors, to kind of help with their project. So it's not sustainable in that way. And there's a bajillion manga that are coming out all the dang on time. Like think about like how many, like there's so many people in Japan, it seems right, that want to become manga artists. And it's a very difficult position to hold for a long time. But a lot of people really want to do it. And there's so many different type of genres in Japan, right? That's another big difference. Like, I would have to be like, the only way that America could get close to the depth that is... Wait a minute. Did I ever unmute this part of the mic? I don't think I did. My bad. I thought the music was on for you guys. My bad. Now, I know you can hear me, but you can't hear the music. I'm over here slight jamming while talking. And I'm like, yeah, they can hear this music too. No, you guys cannot. You guys cannot hear the music. But, what was I saying? Where did I stop at? I was thinking about, I think it was something about, dang it, I instantly forgot. Something about the assistants and stuff like that. But, anywho, people basically want to, have a living wage and not have to wonder about when they're going to consistently get work. I think America can make it if they promote the indies. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say about indies. Indie side of comics more. A lot of indie stuff is really good, but doesn't get enough support to last long enough. Or it does last long enough, but it just takes forever to get another book out. And since people these days are more concerned about speed of consistently pumping things out, it'll just fly over their head. They just won't see it. They won't know about it. People will kill more about a bad webtoon that's consistently getting updates than something that's like really top tier and probably even has color and it takes forever to get a book out, you know. One example is Deadly Class. It was made into live action and sci-fi, on sci-fi, I believe. But they didn't give it enough time or support to really be so great. Because the show was dope, but sci-fi ain't the place for big viewership to begin with. Man, I ain't watched a sci-fi show since like Eureka. Like, I have not gone back there for a long, like since a long time. It was more than 10 years. Like, I remember Eureka. Eureka was a cool show. A lot of people liked it, but I haven't really been watching no sci-fi. But yeah, I honestly think, and this is unfortunate in a way because I don't know how they would make their money from this, but I think that it'd be smart if you want to get the best viewership for something, in my opinion, just throw it on YouTube. Just throw it on YouTube. I feel like YouTube, everybody dang on, like there's more people that have a YouTube than Twitch. There's more people that have a YouTube than I'm sure Netflix. I'm sure Netflix cannot compete with the amount of viewers YouTube gets for things. Like, if they could find a way to financially make that a thing, I'd put my stuff on YouTube. That's where I would put it. You know, not to mention, the only thing that's hard to do on YouTube right now, other than pay creators a certain amount for the traction that they're getting, because they have to keep moving the freaking goalpost because they don't know how it's supposed to really work, and people are bringing in a crazy amount of views anyway on there. But what was I saying? The thing about YouTube is, like, the thing it's hardest to do on there and make money from or do anything with is like stream. Like, that's the reason why I started checking out Twitch in the first place. My friends was like, yo, you've gotten good with the streaming thing now. You know how to consistently put out content, but like, no one is going to be incentivized to check out any of your links. No one's going to be incentivized to throw you any money or super chat. Like, you have to really work hard just to even get in a position to get super chats and stuff like that. But on Twitch, you don't have to do that necessarily. You know. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it out again. Because I tried out Twitch some time ago, and I just was like, I wasn't getting that much traction with it, so I just kind of was like, I think I'm going to stop. But yeah, that's what I think, right? If you can find a way to get your stuff on the YouTube, it's going to get all the views it can get. Because everyone has access to a YouTube or Google account, which allows them to get on YouTube. Even when they're not logged into YouTube, they can view it for free. So, I think that's something cool that should be able to be, like, done. I think there's a lot of black indie directors and creators who've done a bunch of shows. I think, wasn't Issa Rae one of them? I'm not sure. I could be off. I remember her name comes to mind. But, like, I remember she had done some sort of show on some sort of social media, and I think it might have been YouTube as well. Yeah, plus Twitch is really a place where being in different communities and getting friends from there will make people come to your stream. Word. Yeah. Okay, you do think so? Word. Yeah, it's like, that's the cool thing. So that's what I was gonna say, like, the indie stuff, right? Yeah, the Black Woman Comedy Show or something like that. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. The thing about the indie stuff when it comes to like American comics is, like, that's the only way you can get that depth. You can't really compete with Japan when it comes to the depth of their comics. They're like, yo, we got comics for everything. They got comics for engineers. They got a comic for, like, if you want to learn how to be an engineer, you can read that. They got comics for cooking. They got comics for, I don't know, HVAC. They got comics for, like, anything you wouldn't think had a comic probably does have it. You know, like, yo, like, I'm an electrician, you know, and here's what I do on my day-to-day. There's a comic for that. Yo, like, I run a hotel. There's a comic for that. Like, why? Because there's a market for that. Some people will be interested. People like, yo, well, like, I wonder what that's like. Over here, it's just, yo, man, like action, adventure, drama, suspense, you know, maybe some romance. Even the indie stuff is getting, like, a lot better with that type of stuff. But again, since people don't think there's a market, people don't try it until someone finally tries it. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Might have been one of the best pushes for, like, people starting to create, like, tabletop stories and stuff like that. Just trying stuff outside of just, okay, here's a board game, or here's a this, here's a card game. Okay, what about other things that you can play? Can you make a manga about that? Yeah, you can. All you gotta do is figure out how to make anything appealing to read, and you can make a comic about it. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Everybody in Japan well, not everybody, right? So that's a misconception. You don't want to spread false information too easily. You know, it's really easy to do. The reading rate, the amount of people who still read comics in Japan is really big. Like, they're consistently still reading comics in Japan, and it just never got lame for them. There are people who get on the bus or whatever and actively still read comics. Train, wherever. They're like, yo, like, I'm about to read this comic real quick. And of course, if you have so many genres to read, it's not lame because it's attached to something like superheroes. And since everybody's like, oh, superheroes so far-fetched, it's like, no. If you can read a comic about an HVAC, that means you can learn about HVAC through a comic book. You feel me? Like, you could actually learn stuff. You could be like, yo, I want to learn how to cook a recipe. Now, yes, you could just go on YouTube, but you can't get that personality, you can't get that person, you can't get that story in there. Okay, so let's see here. We need to create this water effect thingy. And just do something really quick though. What is this like? Oh yeah, I need to also, well, actually, what do they like this? I don't like that line there. Yeah, I kind of came to the conclusion that, you know, it's doable to do better comics and do better comic business. The examples are all around us. And I think Image Comics and, like, Image Comics is a business based off of indie comics, and then you just have indie comics. Whatever you can foster through indie comics and I guess fixing the problem with the comics industry, whatever you can do with that, that's that's the best push we can. I think we can kind of get right now. Image Comics has a decent understanding of what they're doing. They've been doing it for a very long time at this point. Manga still has its problems, right? Where we got overwork, right? Being overworked. Shoot, don't get me started on the underpaid part of it, man. I don't know if you were in stream where I was talking about it, but like, man, I was doing some research about like. See, the thing about being an artist is we can get really comfortable with just being like, yo, like, you work really hard just to be able to produce work. You feel me? That's what you do. You work hard, try to produce work. And then eventually you go, man, I've worked so hard, I can now produce the work that I want. And I think I'm doing decent work. That's what you eventually get to, right? But the other problem comes in when you're not thinking about the amount of money you should be making per the work you're doing. And you're just so happy to be doing that work. And look, man, there's certain people in the industry that should have way more money than what they should, but because they either didn't care or didn't look or didn't do any research, they just got stuck with these really bad situations. And I think everyone needs to be thinking about that. Yeah, the indie manga scene is still trying to figure it out. The diverse and black manga companies can't really get it right, and they copy each other a lot. Yep, I'm gonna go to that real soon. Hold on, I'm gonna go to that real soon. But so I know it's weird to, I guess, count people's money, but then again, I don't care about that anymore. Like, the notion of saying that it's weird to do a thing without like it being harmful in any way to anybody is just like, nah. I need to know where that money is going. I need to understand something about that. This space that people really try to be in to understand it, like, think about it like this, right, Thero? You could be like, yo, I got this really good idea, right? And someone goes, man, this is a really good idea. We should make this into a movie, right? And you go, word. And they pay you your licensing fee. Your licensing fee will probably only be like 10 grand, right? But then the guy who they get to pick to be in your movie, to like star in it, this guy will be like a okay actor, right? But he's popular-ish, right? Like, people know his face somewhere, right? Goes in your movie, your concept is great. Then everybody knows this guy. Let's say you do make some sales from the fact that your thing was made into a live action. Cool. But then you go look up like your net worth, like based on the actor who played in your thing net worth, and you start realizing like, wait, why is the guy who played in my story, he played in the live action version of my thing, why is that guy worth more than me, who allowed not only him but this company, all these other industries that popped up around my idea? How come they have made such big profit, but I just got scraps on the table, if you will? It's because there's something wrong there. There's something wrong there. For example, say Takehiko Inoue. I'm not even going to go over to the guy who created Berserk, Kentaro Miura. Inoue has sold, what did he sell? He sold, 100 million copies of Slam Dunk, right? 100 million copies of Slam Dunk have been sold, right? And he sold 80 million, I believe, 70 or 80. I think let's just go 70. 70 million copies of Vagabond. You go look up this man's net worth. We're talking 1 to maybe 5 million is his net worth. Bro, where's his money, bro? Bro, where is the money? How much, I had to look up mad stuff. I did a lot of research. And I was just sitting there like, bro, this doesn't add up at all. Don Lovisi talks about this. He brought up how he has been pitching his story for years, and it's folks trying to buy it from him for just $30K, but they would just mess it up and still make millions while he sits with a year's worth of rent money. Yeah, them numbers ain't numbering on any bro, it doesn't make any sense. I was talking about it with my wife, and she was like, yo, this don't make no sense. Something's up. Like, they're robbing you. Like, you guys. Like, I'm just like, you're right. You don't even have to say it like that, but that is what it is. There's no way that makes any sense. There's no way. And like, no matter how I tried to slice it, how I tried to like change it up, figure it out, I had to do more and more research, and I found out, yo, manga artists, they get paid 50 cents or less for each manga sale. Do you know how how badly that hurt me hearing that? There's been times where I was just sitting there like, man, yo, you know how people say, yo, go to buy the manga. That's how the manga artist gets their money. You know, buy their manga. And I would be like, word, I'm gonna go buy the manga. You know, I'd be, encourage my friends, yo, buy the manga, yo. Like, that's the only way to get paid. And then you find out that they're not getting nothing but 50 cents. You're just sitting there like, yo, how? How do you sell 100 million of something and not have? I don't even know what to call that, man. Something's off, man. Like, something's off. Like, for example's sake, I think a novelist, right? A novelist gets paid something like 20% off of a book. So, for example's sake, if you were to sell a book, for $10, they get paid $2 off of a book. That would be some decent money over time if you sold 100 million books. I'm not even going. I'm gonna come back to this because this is already taking a lot of my attention. But yeah, it's just. I'm talking about the thing on the boat, honestly. But yeah, like, I'm just like, yo, like, where is the money? Where is it at? It doesn't make any sense. And Noe has sold over 100 millions of just Slam Dunk. Just Slam Dunk, right? Just that. He sold 70 million of Vagabond. I don't know how much, I'm sure millions of Real he sold, that manga. This man's manga has been, it's got an anime. It's probably the top thing that got most Japanese players into basketball, right? Like, they would not give a crap about basketball if it wasn't Vagabond. If it wasn't for Slam Dunk. I'm getting a little mixed up. And this man's influence can't be overstated. This man is still doing stuff for basketball now. And you telling me this guy don't even have like 50 million? Like, oh, guess what else? Guess what else doesn't add up, right? If they get paid 50 cents per volume or less. If we just went and said, okay, it's 50 cents per volume. If you multiply 50 cents times 100 million, still doesn't add up to someone only having 5 million. And that's at the high end. You might only have 2, right? Like, that's at the high end. That's saying he got the highest percentage on that thing that I saw online, 5 million, right? So if that's the case, it still doesn't add up because 50 cents times 100 million is still larger than 5 million. And that's just for Slam Dunk. And think about it. They're manga artists. Can you say, yo, they're probably balling out of control. They out here buying everything. And it's like, how? They in the crib drawing. Maybe looking at a DVD Blu-ray box set or something of a movie they like. Watching Pacific Rim. Like, what? Like, they're not out here spending that money. I mean, maybe they bought a house. I don't know. I think Noe did buy a place and you put an elevator in it. But, again, does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That stuff stays in my head, and I'm so happy that I'm not as far as some other people in these companies where they're kind of being taken advantage of. How's it going, Kai? Where they're being taken advantage of, and they don't know, and they don't understand, and they don't care. Cause I want to know, I want to understand, and I care. It's too easy to steal from a visual artist. It's too easy. These people will basically wait you out your whole life just to steal your idea from you for the cheap, bro. They just be like, "Oh, that's a good idea. Hey man, I give you 30K for that idea so I can like make millions off of it, bro. Like even if it flops, I'll make, I don't know, $6 million, you know?" It's like what's happening? Like what's happening? Like what? Oh yeah, and if you also want to see or hear more about the manga industry when it comes to working in it, you should look up online. There's a gentleman by the name of Felipe Smith. He went and did a interview with, I believe their name is Cartoonist Kayfabe. Just type that into YouTube, and he kind of talks about working in Japan for years on his comic called Pipochu, and the difficulties that it was like, you know, what it was like there, right? Like the good and the bad, if you will, right? And it's very eye-opening. Is it? I don't know what a kayfabe is. I thought they spelled keyfob wrong the whole time in my head, and I was like, oh, they talking about them joints you put on the end of your keys. But I never researched it, so you know I stayed ignorant, I guess. Yeah. But but like, it's a good interview. I learned a lot from it. I've actually talked to Felipe some years back, and because I was always interested in the fact that he went over to Japan and he worked there, and he literally ran the gauntlet, if you will, the stuff that everybody thinks about doing. He actually went there and did it. So, very, very much respect that guy. But kayfabe is basically what the WWE wrestlers do. It holds up the appearance, the acting, good guy, bad guy roles are upheld. Ah, interesting. Seems like there's a lot of like wrestler terminology that's been kind of passed around and still used to this day, so that's awesome. Like a heel in storytelling or something. But yeah, like Felipe went through it, and they were kind of looking at him like, you know, this stuff is normal here. You're being, you know, not, you don't understand just how difficult it could get. We're being nice, or this is nice, you know, like it's not even that hard. We're not even being that hard on you type thing. And I don't know. Basically, in Japan, comics is a very serious thing, and it becomes a very serious collaboration. It's not just you working on your baby. It's that company working with you on your baby. And everyone's trying to get their bills paid, and everyone's trying to, you know, like make things work out in the end. They definitely want to make another hit, despite whatever, you know. They definitely want to make another hit, and whatever they can do to get that to happen, that's what they're gonna try. The thing about hits in America, as far as like comics go, is, man, a hit in like American comics will be like, let's say it's like Invincible, but see, Invincible is actually a independent comic. Let's see what else. What could I pick? I don't know. What could I pick? Okay, I guess I could say the character Miles Morales is a hit in America, right? And because of that, that's also independent, right? Spawn is also independent. But I'm gonna say Miles Morales, right? Miles Morales being popular and becoming a hit means that you got to get Miles Morales toys, Miles Morales being featured in a live action movie, Miles Morales being in a video game that a lot of people know about, right? Like, that's what you get from that, right? You get that type of rollout, right? When Japan gets a hit, or, you know, when they get a hit, it's like, yo, we're about to promote the crap out of these characters. They do some of the same things, right? It's similar. You get your toys. You get longevity. You get, oh, you like this character? Cool. Well, the creator is still working on it. You're like, oh, word? Like, yeah, yup. And we're still working with them. We're the company that works with that creator. You're like, oh, word? Yeah. Go buy his book. Now, think about what I just said. They go, yeah. Now, go buy the book. Now, think about it. How big is this percentage they're making off of the book now that we know? Now that we know these numbers, right? Like, if we know the artist is getting 50 cents or less, they're making 95% off of the book sales, bro. Oh, man. Like, I'm not even good at math, bro, but just think about that, man. They're making like 95% off of that book. Like, unless they just giving away books for free, they're making 95% off of those books. You know, while they're doing that, that's almost like they're creating a bar graph. Like, okay, we're getting this amount of money from this amount of book sales, so maybe we can go into anime production, right? They go to an anime production, and they get the color version, essentially, of what your stuff looks like popular. When that stuff starts getting popular, it's time to start cranking out figures. It's time to start cranking out action figures and stuff like that. Which is actually what I learned, what most manga artists get their money from. Unless the numbers get closer to 50%, solo might be the move. LOL. Right? Like, yo, I'm actually okay with the novelist numbers to some degree, right? They're a lot better. They're a lot favorable. 20%, because you got to understand, they are doing something, right? They are doing the advertisement for you. They are paying for distribution, right? They are probably working on the designs for your books and stuff like that, right? They may also be paying for some of your book tours, you know, if we're talking about novelists, you know, right? They're doing that. But if we're talking about just, yo, you stay in this place, you pay the bills for this place, right? And we, like, something's off, man. It's just, like, I know that they pay you a living wage. They pay you about, like, $100 for each page you do, which is actually really decent. It's actually really decent for any first work that you do, if that's what you're getting paid at all, right? And then you have, so you pay you for each page that you do, but then you're only getting paid like less than 50 cents a book you sell. That's iffy. That's real iffy to me. Which means that what you're doing eventually is you're paying your bills, and then if you eventually have any extra money saved up, if you can save money, you buy assistants, if you will, for their time, or you buy an assistant's time for about a day, if not 2 days, if you have it like that, and you get them to help you with your comic to make ends meet, you know, and on it goes, right? That's the loop you get stuck in until you either lose popularity or you finish your series. You know, that's just how that goes. Like, I understand you got the clout, publishing, and production, and distribution, but all that means nothing without my ideas and work. I mean, technically you're right, and at the same idea wrong, right? Because with their reach, your idea can become even a bigger hit, right? With their reach. The thing is, you can put a bad product anywhere and it doesn't sell, right? But if they don't have anything comparable in that place where you put it, they might think it's good. You know? That's another thing. Manga popped off in places where people were looking for anything different to check out. That they're already reading comics, but they're like, oh, I want something new. These comics I'm reading kind of boring, or anybody open-minded. But see, open-minded people back in the day when manga started to try and go different places, I don't think they were everywhere. People just, yo, this is a comic, oh, but it's like read differently. That's interesting. The artwork is good here and there, or the storyline is good here and there. And then after 20, 30, 40 years of work of distributing manga in places where they knew that comics were being sold and stuff like that, where they were like open-minded enough to check it out, those people through word of mouth got to just exclusively eventually start checking out comics or manga, right? Like, I feel you on that, but at the same time, it is a give and take. So I kind of feel like it isn't quote unquote 50% because they're taking the biggest risk and they're putting a lot of money into it. Whereas though the only money I'm putting into my comic is me trying to survive and me trying to make it. But my problem becomes when you only allow me to just survive. You know, that's like that's off to me. Like if you're only getting paid a living wage, right? If your living wage does not include money to save, then I feel like something's off. Because at the drop of a hat, if I get dropped from the company, I've only been able to pay my bills with that money. I've only been able to just get by until my series ends. If I wasn't able to get in a position to either make more money or save money while I was working there, then, you know, it's not really, yeah. Like, that might be the last work I do in comics, because it's just not, you know. Like, think about it. You don't get what is it called? You don't get job security in comics. You don't get health benefits in comics. You actually get worse. You get worse. Like, your health gets worse. You could be in a perfect shape of your life. Start drawing comics. You sitting at that table for hours. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you get hurt, it's a wrap. Like, you know, like it's over, you know? Yo, your house burns down to some crap like that, you go on hiatus for a bit, yo, people forget you exist because the competition's crazy, like, you know? What am I listening to? What is this? Oh, this is still this? Alright, let's go to the next one. Something feels off with this line. I need to spin the page again. But that's another thing, right? Where you got to think about so much. When you're a young person, you don't think about like stuff like that. You also may have the same mentality when you get older. And that's mainly because it's just hard to do. Comics and trying to get in the industry, it can be fun to learn sometimes, right? It's fun to do comics because you have a, like, you know, freedom to kind of create what you want to create. But at the same time, it's not easy. And because it's not easy, it's something you work at every single day to some degree, right? Trying to create a storyline that people will just, like pay attention to and actually enjoy themselves, you know, and come back for more. And you're trying to create a loop where people at the end go, man, I want more, but I also feel fed. That's what I think about it like, right? Like, I think of it like a meal. Like, I always think of it like a meal because I go, man, I don't want to feel all the time like I want the next one. Like I want to feel like, man, that was good. I want the next one, but I'm okay with waiting for the next one because of how good this made me feel. And I feel like that's what separates a lot of top tier series from like masterpieces. We'll probably never get another, you know, Vagabond. Probably never get another Berserk. Like ever. We'll never get them. And that's not something to be sad about. You know? I think that's something to be okay about. Like, you just like, okay, like I'm cool with that. Because the amount of effort. What I'm really saying, right, is Berserk, Vagabond, these things that I think are like masterpieces, or something that you think is a masterpiece. Those people tailor-made those series for those specific moments that seem to work on us. You know, those things that we really like about them. They're very tailor-made, and someone put a lot of time, effort, and care into weaving the type of story that they tell. And I don't think they're easy to make. I don't think they're easy to make at all. They take such amount of time of growth. It takes a person to get to somewhere mentally to be able to produce a story like the ones that we really enjoy on those levels to kind of hit us a certain way. You might also have to be in a certain place of your life, right, where you can even make something like that. That's why, essentially, you know, quote unquote, they hit different, right? I mean, someone can take the same concept and do it a bajillion other ways, but it just won't reach you because it's just something's off. I feel like that's fine. And I think the funny parts is that you can find other series you like a lot and be like, man, that almost was close to being a masterpiece. But it's always good to know exactly why it didn't cross that threshold. Definitely as a storyteller yourself. Another funny thing is that I don't feel like you can correctly gauge a masterpiece unless you're really in that genre already. Like, you're in it. You're like, you really enjoy that. But see, there's, you know, a masterpiece is also subjective, right? It's up to you whether or not that thing's a masterpiece, right? So you could just say narratively, in general, it's a masterpiece. Some people can say, yo, this is such a masterpiece, it is genre defining, right? Like, this thing is so good, it is genre defining, that, like, how good it is, right? Like, oh crap, I thought it said 1 hour and 40 something minutes. I'm like, what? Like, I have not been streaming that long yet. But, like Slam Dunk, right? Having the impact that it had. There's been a lot of different sports manga, but none of them hit as hard as Slam Dunk. They have large histories and been around for years and years and years. Soccer, mangas, and baseball, and all types of sports, right? You know, and then Slam Dunk comes around and hits so freaking hard that not only does it get an anime, large fan base, lots of sales, but it actually gets people in Japan to actually think that, basketball is cool. And not only is it cool, I want to do it. I have never gave a crap about basketball. In my head, I'm like, I'm a person reading, Slam Dunk and being inspired by it and going like, I've never cared. But you know what? After reading this, I want to feel this experience. I want to feel this moment. I want to do this for myself. And these guys go out and they freaking pick up basketball and try it. And they enjoy it. And they're like, man, like, almost feels like I'm the main character in Slam Dunk now. I assume, right? That's serious influence right there. That's serious influence right there. I'm gonna have to change this around and see. Oh, okay, so that's there. What I think you want to be in is a position where a big company can't easily take advantage of you. If someone wants to buy your idea, you should be able to set a price that you think is good, you know, and eventually get accommodated if someone really wants your idea that badly. Even if it has some scalability to it. I'm tired of hearing about flat contracts too. Like for example's sake, right? Let's say, like, if someone makes a logo for someone, right? Like, yo, I want you to be designing me a logo, right? You go, okay, word, I'm gonna design you a logo, right? And you do that, and you do it for a flat freaking rate, and then you give it to them, and they go, okay, thank you. And then they go out and they run their company, and they do what they're gonna do with it, and then all of a sudden that company is popular now. The best you can get is work again. That's the best you can get. Someone go like, yo, like, I remember you designed this logo for me. I've been doing well in business. I like the look you gave me. I would like you to improve it. That's the best you're going to get from that situation. But if there was some scalability to it, whereas though you was like, yo, check this out. I'm going to design this logo for you. And if you go out and you make a business within like, I don't know, 2 years to 5 years, if you're still using my logo, if you're still using a derivative of my logo, meaning I created the initial literal, like, the thing you're using type thing, as a template, if you will, if you're still using it, right, then I technically helped your brand recognition, right? That's what a logo does anyway. And you should pay me a certain small percentage more, right? Like if you're still using my same design for your company, I should get something from that. I feel like that'd be fair, because it's not a picture. Like, it's not just like, yo, I wanted you to draw me a commission of a character of mine, right? It's literally a business thing where how do you explain this? It's kind of like I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like when someone, see, it's a logo, right? It's like if you gave someone a flat rate for a logo, that's cool if that's what you wanted to do. But like, imagine like them never having to do anything but retouch that logo, make it look prettier and all that crap. But it's still in the literal shape, like form that you put it in. They didn't do anything different. They didn't go with a like harsher font or anything. They just kind of been touching it up here and there and using it over and over again. Like how this says just, you know, like Tombow. You got like the joint right there, right? It says Tombow, right? But if you design like this imagery right here, right? And this has been forever there. Like, if they've been using your logo for like, I don't know, 40 years or some crap, you're gonna eventually feel a way. Like, yo, like, if my idea was that good, how am I not still getting paid off of it? I feel like contracts should eventually evolve into that form. It gives you a little bit extra wiggle room. I don't know, imagine hustling real hard and just doing mad logos for people. And then eventually, everybody around you is using a logo of yours. And you're just like, word, thank you. You can, I guess, raise your prices. But you're not getting anything from the previous ones other than the recognition that you made them. Some things, I feel like that's fine. If that's what you want to do. But I kind of feel like I want to eventually do stuff like that. And I encourage other people to do it as well. Definitely, if you know you're going to be in a thing for a long time, definitely designing something for other people. I feel like what we really got to think about more is, how can my art, how does it, like, help other people, right? What does it give other people? If I do art for a company that's a logo, that means I'm giving them brand recognition. Brand recognition in a space filled with other people. With other companies having brand recognition is very important, right? It's the same reason why if you were younger, right, and you were like, yo, I like Pepsi, and someone else is like, yo, I like Coke, and then you got another freaking brand in there, right, somewhere near the Coke and the Pepsi, but no one's freaking touching it because they've never seen a commercial of that company. And it ain't even because like it's like more expensive. It's literally around the same price point. But they'll never buy it because no one knows what that is. It could be better than Coke and Pepsi, but you won't know because you won't try it until someone else tries it. So it doesn't have that brand awareness like those things are. That's kind of like how logo stuff kind of works. Once you understand like how the art you create works for people, like what it does, not only pricing it will be different, but also just how you go about doing business with that thing should be different. Like, I guess, I forget the name of it, editorial illustration. I learned about editorial illustration some time ago, where, if you guys don't know what that is, I believe it is, it's what people used to do art for magazines, or like magazines, right? So someone wants to take out an ad, put an ad somewhere in a book, and they might think, hey, your image works perfectly for the type of message I want to put here. So what they do is they don't hire you, quote, personally. Usually what they usually do, or like what they end up being able to do, is rent out a picture from you to make this ad. And depending on how long they rent it out, that's how much you charge them. So if they want to rent the picture out for a longer amount of time, you can charge them for extra amount of time, like depending on how long they want to rent it. Sometimes they can also rent exclusive rights to it. So whereas they're like, yo, I want to be the only guy or only person or only company renting out this specific image, so that everyone knows, that when they see this, it's attached to, I don't know, Truth. Remember those? Truth, telling you about how bad cigarettes are and stuff like that. You know, you see those in the magazine, you're just like, oh, word, like this is a truth commercial joint or whatever, an advertisement here. But yeah, obviously exclusive rights, meaning only those people are using it. You can usually charge them a lot because they're taking away your possibility for making money from other people at the same time. So basically, what I'm saying is, you gotta learn how different types of forms of art can be used, what it does, what it helps other people with, and how you can do something different with that other than doing a flat rate charge thing. If you keep doing that, eventually you're gonna become a master of your craft, and you're gonna be getting robbed consistently. But it's never gonna feel like you're being robbed because it's gonna be like, well, I set my price. Be like, yeah, word. Like, that's exactly the problem. Like, you don't realize that you could have set it for more. You don't realize that you could have done more with it because all you've ever known is, like, again, I get it. It's the industry we want to work in. Art is hard. You have to essentially research about it your whole life. You're never done learning. You're never done, like, figuring something out about art. So that's why it's so hard to look at anything beyond just getting good at art. You're like, yo, I need to get good at values. I need to get good at color. I need to do this. I need to do that. But if you already have a style that works for people, and they're already like, yo, I want to get a commission, you're already in demand. You can always get better. You will consistently get better. It's the nature of the beast. You have to stay good. But if people are already looking for your art, you kind of already are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Like, if people are already, like, even thinking about, like, yo, like, I would like to get a commission from you, or I'd like to buy something from you, you already have something recognizable you might not even be able to see. So the other part is just getting better at business. You don't want to be thinking back to how you had an original picture of such and such, and you sold it, and then they use it in a movie, and the next thing you know, you're like, man, I created that look for, I don't know, Nightwing or something. And now you're like, man, if only I never sold the original copy or, picture of that costume for Nightwing, man, I'd be able to make off with so much. Like, right now, I wouldn't have to worry so much about bills because people love that costume on Nightwing. I could have sold it or held it. I could have actually still had it. I remember hearing a while ago, I think it was Jim Lee or someone, or his inker. They had sold this picture many years ago for, like, I don't know, $200, $300 maybe, at a convention. And the people just sold it recently for over like $100,000. You can never gauge when that type of thing is going to happen. Only thing you can do is try to hold on to your best content as long as possible, in my opinion. And obviously, this is something you can't do. Well, see, I don't know that. But it's seemingly like it's hard to do, or you can't do it with digital work. A lot of people are doing this with traditional work. So I would say always try to leave yourself a traditional version of your work, some way, shape, or form. Even if it's just a sketch, right? Always leave yourself something. That way you have something to sell in the end. And guess what else? You don't have to freaking draw big in order to produce big work, like a really big print. As long as you can scan 1200, 600, 1200 and above DPI with your scanner, it'll be a giant piece, right? You clean it up, you make it look nice, yeah, right? You clean it up and everything, and then you go, okay, I want to color this on my computer. That's cool. And even if it's like in your sketchbook, right? Like a, what are these things? Like these little, the Canson joints with the decent paper and the rings and everything. I think my friend the Kinonaut does that, right? Sometimes a lot of the times he sketches his things in pencil. At least this guy will have some physicals later, to be able to do something with if he wants to, right? Like if he wants to. If you don't have an option to do it, you can't say you can't do it. But you know, don't take away the possibility of you having options. Because not having options in art is just, it's not good. I think it's definitely always good to have a certain amount of options in art. Because again, the only thing you really got is these jobs. But if you got jobs, plus you have originals, plus you have, what is it called, royalties and stuff like that, like, it means everything you create once can be sold multiple times. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. But if you're a younger artist, you're probably not thinking about this right now. I mean, maybe if you're hurting for money, you are. But then again, that's not true either. You know, I've been hurting for money, and the only thing you think about when you're hurting for money a lot of the time is how to make anything, you know? Just make something. You're not thinking about the long game of being like, not only will I make some money from this, I can make money from this multiple times, you know? Oh, that was going off, okay. Let's see here. I don't like all of it, but I like some of it. Let's see. Hope I didn't sour anyone's mood with my talk of financial stuff as an artist. I honestly think it's really important. Not young anymore, and I'm not chasing the whole, like, I need to, you know, improve anymore. I'm gonna do it naturally. I'm gonna get better. Not worried about that anymore. I have children, I have a wife, you know, I'm just thinking of the future and things like that. I'm not bogged down in a company yet as far as art goes, so I can kind of see things, you know, a little bit better. So I'm not playing for a team, if you will, yet. Like, I'm still playing my own team. Still think it's very important to be thinking about these things, though. You don't want to feel trapped and then also feel like you can't talk about it because you put yourself in the trap. I'll come back to that later. Doesn't have to look perfect right now. Just go down here. Alright, what's happening? What is this? Alright, then you have to deal with commercials if you don't do that correctly, huh? I'll go with this. Alright, just on the underside. Okay. finally starting to get back into the hang of things, I feel. Took a while. Okay. Well, that's as far as I'll go for this stream. Thank you all for checking through and coming through and hanging out with me during the week. Was able to finally get through 5. Well, I think this is my second week on Twitch, but I'm not sure. I think this is my. Yeah, I think this is my second week on Twitch. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming through through my my Twitch channel. It's been awesome. Been able to start finally working on traditional streams with the comic and everything again. So that's awesome. Been thinking a little bit about doing some of the work with the comic off camera a little bit, but honestly, I wanna still promote that I do. I also do, illustration style stuff, so that maybe I can get some commissions. Maybe I can get some commissions, or eventually make some merch and sell some merchandise of those things. But yeah, I'm still working on stuff. I still have some things planned that I can probably even do on stream. Hello, cat, who's just jumped into my lap. Oh, okay, hello. But yeah, here's some of the work we were able to do. This is not a perfect view of everything, but yeah. Hold on, let me uncover this guy's head. Yeah, I like his face actually the most right now. But yeah, been liking some of the work we've been able to finally do on stream with everyone, and still have a lot more to go. We've only, as you guys can see right here, gotten to about page 3. So next week, I may end up doing like 2 pages or something like that off stream, maybe. Right? I think that could be pretty cool, and I'll go through page 1, 2, and 3 and make sure they're up to par as well. But other than that, yeah, enjoyed my time with you guys. Make sure you follow me on social media and all that jazz, or follow me here if you haven't already. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Probably next week around the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, I'm not gonna raid anyone. Doesn't look like I want to raid anyone. I don't see anyone that cool yet. So yeah. All right, everyone. You guys take care and enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna try to as well. Peace, everyone.